The bakery went silent the moment the woman quietly asked them to cancel her son's birthday cake. She stood at the counter clutching her purse with trembling hands, staring at a cake covered in bright blue frosting and tiny baseball decorations. The cake had already been made. Her little boy's name, Ethan, was written across the top in careful icing. But now she was asking if it could be cancelled. The look on her face wasn't anger or frustration. It was heartbreak. And what happened next would change two families forever. Before we begin, if you believe kindness can still change lives, take a moment to like this video, share it with someone who needs hope today, leave a comment, and subscribe to the channel for more emotional stories about compassion, forgiveness, and second chances. It was a chilly spring afternoon in Columbus, Ohio, when Nathan Walker stopped by a local bakery after work. Nathan was a single father raising his 9-year-old daughter, Grace, after losing his wife several years earlier. Life had not been easy. Between working long hours as a city bus mechanic and trying to be both mother and father to Grace, every day felt like a balancing act. Yet despite his struggles, he had learned something important through grief: people often carried invisible battles. As Nathan waited to pick up cupcakes for Grace's school event, he noticed a woman standing at the counter. Her name was Rebecca Foster. She looked exhausted, as if she hadn't slept properly in weeks. Nathan wasn't trying to listen, but the sadness in her voice filled the room. The bakery employee gently explained that the cake had already been completed and that only part of the payment could be refunded. Rebecca lowered her head and nodded. She wasn't arguing. She simply looked defeated. Nathan learned enough to understand the situation. Rebecca had recently lost her job after the company where she worked closed unexpectedly. She had spent weeks searching for employment while trying to support her 7-year-old son, Ethan. Every dollar mattered. The birthday cake she had ordered weeks ago was now a luxury she could no longer afford. Nathan watched as Rebecca carefully counted a few bills in her wallet. Even after the partial refund, she still looked worried about making ends meet. Then she thanked the staff and turned to leave. Something about that moment reminded Nathan of a painful memory. Years earlier, after his wife passed away, he had nearly cancelled Grace's birthday celebration because money was tight. He still remembered the guilt of wondering whether he could give his daughter even one happy day during such a difficult season. A stranger had unexpectedly helped him then. That act of kindness had stayed with him ever since. Without overthinking it, Nathan walked to the counter and asked how much the cake cost. The employee told him. It wasn't a small amount. Nathan glanced at his bank balance on his phone and knew it would mean cutting back on some things for a few weeks. But his heart wouldn't let him walk away. He paid for the entire cake. Then he asked the bakery staff if they could give it to Rebecca before she reached her car. Outside, dark clouds drifted across the sky as Rebecca slowly walked through the parking lot. She looked surprised when an employee came running toward her carrying the cake box. At first she thought there had been a mistake. Then she learned that someone inside had purchased the cake for Ethan. Confused and emotional, she turned back toward the bakery. Nathan was standing near the entrance holding a small box of cupcakes. He simply smiled and waved. Rebecca's eyes immediately filled with tears. For several seconds she couldn't speak. She had spent weeks feeling alone, overwhelmed, and afraid of disappointing her son. In one unexpected moment, a stranger had lifted a burden she didn't know how to carry anymore. Nathan didn't want attention or praise. He quietly told her that every child deserved to feel special on their birthday. Then he wished Ethan a wonderful celebration and started walking away. But the story didn't end there. A few days later, Rebecca posted the experience on a local community page. She never expected the post to spread beyond a handful of friends. Yet thousands of people shared it. Many were touched by the simple act of kindness. Some local business owners reached out offering job leads. Others donated school supplies, groceries, and support. Within a month, Rebecca found a stable position at a medical office. The opportunity allowed her to rebuild her confidence and provide for Ethan again. Little by little, life began improving. Meanwhile, Nathan continued living his quiet life, unaware of how many people had been inspired by what he had done. Then one evening, he received a letter in the mail. Inside was a handwritten note from Ethan. The young boy explained that his birthday had turned out to be the best day he could remember. He wrote that seeing the cake made him feel loved during a hard time. He also included a drawing of himself, his mother, Nathan, and Grace standing together beneath a giant rainbow. At the bottom, Ethan had written that one day he wanted to help people the way Nathan helped his family. Nathan sat at his kitchen table holding the letter as tears formed in his eyes. Grace read it beside him and wrapped her arms around her father. In that moment, Nathan realized the gift had never been about a cake. It had been about restoring hope. Before we reach the end, tell us in the comments about a moment when someone's kindness made a difference in your life. Your story might encourage someone who needs hope today. Months later, Rebecca and Ethan attended a community picnic where Nathan and Grace happened to be volunteering. The family spent the afternoon together laughing, sharing food, and talking about how much life had changed. What began as a brief encounter inside a bakery had grown into a lasting friendship built on gratitude and compassion. The truth is that most people will never know the battles others are fighting. A small gesture can become a turning point in someone's darkest season. Nathan never set out to change a life. He simply chose kindness when he had the chance. Yet that choice created a ripple effect that touched an entire community and gave a young boy a memory he would carry forever. And if this story touched your heart, please like the video, share it with friends and family, and subscribe for more uplifting stories that remind us how powerful compassion can be. Sometimes the smallest act of generosity becomes the miracle someone has been praying for, and sometimes a birthday cake becomes proof that hope is never truly gone.